Hi, welcome to the L Cube Show. On today's podcast, we have Meenakshi ma'am, who is the founder of the Puvidam Foundation. It's a school for kids from ages 5 to 14. She has this amazing way of teaching or learning or how to raise a kid. So, in today's podcast, it's not just about education, it's more about psychological upbringing and upbringing of the child. So, please do watch the podcast, subscribe, like, and please do share your valuable comments. Please do subscribe. Thank you.
So, what education should be doing is giving you the years of wisdom in a much shorter period and learn what is necessary for that child, food, and the environment. This is what makes up your child. Fear happened, a lot of fear. We're supposed to eat only when we are hungry. If you eat without hunger, you get indigestion. Is that the child is wonderful. So here the child is using this blunt knife. It's no fun cutting, right? They won't do it. Child is very capable. Resilience is a law of nature. Where whatever happens, you're able to come back.
Yes.
Rebound and come back. These are the laws of nature.
Hi, ma'am. Welcome to the L Cube Show. Thank you for coming. Namaste. Thank you for coming, ma'am. Here we have Meenakshi, ma'am, who is the founder of Puvidam Education. But before getting into Puvidam and the trust which you build to educate the kids, actual education, to give them actual education, tell us, ma'am, what is the education? What is education? And for the kids particularly, or for elders, what is education, ma'am?
So, education, at least to me, it means that we are able to respond to the situation with maturity, with discernment. You can understand this is right, this is wrong, this is something. This is the best we can do in any situation. So basically, if you're well educated, you will be wise. So real education is wisdom. So what education should be doing is giving you the years of wisdom in a much shorter period.
Okay. What is the right age for a kid to start education, ma'am? See, if that is the case, we have to go from months also. Like the crawling is education, walking is education, talking is education. But let's understand in the society norms nowadays, what is the right age that they can grasp and what are the right things they have to start from?
So actually, children, like you said yourself, they start learning from the minute they are born. Learning is an instinct. It is actually even earlier than hunger instinct comes the learning instinct, because you have to learn to find the food itself. So learning is a part of our being. It cannot be separated. The problem comes when we start to teach, because learning is need based. A child is learning what they need to learn. Okay, I need to know what this is, and I kind of steer all my senses in that direction so that I can learn. Teaching is like I have put all my senses in that direction, but here is somebody giving instructions and telling you do this, do that. So I'm neither here nor there.
And how to do
I
that?
lose out.
How to do that also?
Yeah. Okay. So if you really want a child to learn and learn what is necessary for that child and make sure that the child is able to fulfill its purpose in life and feel the happiness that it is feeling at the age of 1, even at the age of 70, like all through you remain in happiness.
Yes,
because we are creatures that are born with complete enlightenment. And after this enlightenment is slowly, we have an inner voice. Yes. We are born with an inner voice and we are born with an inner light. We can direct ourselves throughout our life.
Okay.
But also instructions that are started at home, like from parents and then from teachers and then from the whole social system, they confuse the child completely and actually make them feel inept and incapable of leading their own lives. And that's why all the psychological issues start to happen. Okay. So if parents want to make sure that their children are doing well, what they have to do is they have to observe the child. Okay. Not start instructing. Like if the child is going in a particular direction, don't let your fears to make you say, oh, why are you going there? Oh, what are you doing? Instead of that, just wait, be calm, be patient, observe what the child is doing. If it's a physical hurt, it can be repaired.
Yes.
But the deep emotional hurt that we do by all our, prevention, trying to prevent the child from physical hurt, we actually damage a lot of the psychological build-up of the child.
Yeah.
So we have to learn to be patient and know that the body can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
But the mind takes much longer to get fixed. Body takes 3 days, if you get a small scratch or you get a burn or you get a wound.
Something like, let's take a 1.5 to 2-year-old child. Say the same thing by giving me an example, ma'am.
So, like, say, for example, I learned all this from my own children.
Okay.
My son was just about 1.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just started the school. We have about 35, 40 kids. And I was very busy with all these children. So my son was, he would be with me, but then he would be doing something. So I used to take my class outside so that he doesn't have to be inside the room. He can explore it.
Yeah.
So we were having our class and this child was playing. And what he was playing with was, kadappa stones. The stones?
Okay.
So we just finished construction and we had these triangular stones left over. And they were just lying everywhere.
Okay.
And this child was going and picking up the stone and trying to drag it and bring it. So actually I was teaching and then one of the children pointed out that, see, he's playing with stones. Then I turned. Then I saw that he was very focused and he was trying to lift it and move it. And I said, okay, today I don't have time for this. Let's just focus on our work. But I kept an eye. And I found that this child managed to move all these stones, kind of keep them in a line. And then he was playing dominoes. He was touching the top of the stone and all the stones were falling. Okay. Hitting one another and, how these stones or domino blocks are kept and you touch one and they just go. He was doing that. And that is when my mind kind of opened and I said, my God, if I had said, oh, don't play with stone, you will get hurt. And, it's not a toy. You do something else, here, play with this toy or something. Yeah. I would have a whole thought process. Okay. A whole way of his understanding of that was mathematics, actually. Yes. Keeping things at a proper distance. It's math. Yes. So children are capable of doing experiments. It was also an experiment. Okay. And the best part was, finally, I was quite enthralled, and all of us were literally, watching this beautiful scene. This child was playing with these stones. After pushing it, he used to make them stand up again. Mm-hmm. And he went and got some stones, big, small, all kinds of stones. He stood a little away and he's trying to throw the stone at the top of the
like bowling. Like bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. It's physics.
So
that's physics.
It is physics. Exactly. Center of gravity, and that is at what? 1.5 years. Yeah. So actually that opened my eyes to the possibilities of learning and the destruction that we do while teaching. So we kind of shifted our whole approach. No teaching.
Yeah. Do you think, ma'am?
So you create a space.
Yeah. Do you think
create a space where they feel comfortable? That's all.
Do you think, let's say, 50 years ago, not too long, when they had a lot of children and then they don't have time to take care of everybody, they grew by themselves. Only I think first or second child was taken care of a little bit. Nowadays, the concentration is to that level, but are we getting any good results out of it? No. They are in their own phones, they're losing their eyesight, they're having migraine issues, they're having ADHD issues, all these kind of issues. What is going wrong, you think? This extra attention?
It's also the disconnect with nature. See, I think about 50 years back, most people were living in the countryside.
Yes.
They were working with their hands. Children would copy. See, that's how learning happens. The children copy what the adults are doing. It's part of the process of learning. So they, even how they learn a language. Yes. They first listen, and then they try to repeat, and that's experimentation. And then they correct themselves. Okay. So say, my daughter used to say nanni. That is in water in Tamil. It's tanni.
Tanni.
We used to say tanni. She used to say nanni. Okay. And then so we also started saying nanni. You want nanni. Yeah. And after some days, she started saying tanni.
Okay.
So that's how they correct them. So they know that they're making some mistake. They know that it is tanni, but they're not able to use their tongue to say the. Okay. But they keep working on it in silence, deep within. They're working on it. Okay. And at one point, suddenly one day she said tanni. Yeah. Wow. So then we also had to revert to Tanni. Now we don't say Nanni anymore. To say it's not Nanni, it's Tanni. You say properly.
Saying it wrong.
Yes. So that's how I think the learning process is a very deep process. And there is a lot of it that is happening subconsciously. And therefore, parents have to be role models. They cannot say, I want my child to read and be very good at academics. Yeah. And for them, they are always doing some scrolling or doing something which is connected nothing with reading. If you want your child to read, you should enjoy reading. Yes. If you want your child to paint, you should paint with joy. It doesn't matter what you make, how beautiful it is. That is not important. But you at least do it passionately. Yeah. The children grasp the feeling much more than the words, much more than the instructions that we give them. So how do you do it? So if they see their parents working with passion, then they achieve that passion in whatever they are doing. There is focus.
Let's say, ma'am, in this time and world, let's say both the parents are, of course, let's say IT employees only, because that's more understandable in the middle class families right now. Both are in their own laptops and they live in these high-rise apartments and they have this only small pit of place where the kids can play and everything. What could they change in their lifestyle, ma'am? Because earlier we played in sand, we never got sick. I never got any skin disease or anything, but these days kids get skin rashes for out of nothing. They literally don't even go into the sun properly, they get these rashes. What kind of we can't expect them to go back to countryside, but small life changes, ma'am. What can they do? A weekly basis or a daily basis?
See, I think we have to see everything is connected. So our needs is what defines what we do and how much we do. So like my work is defined by my need. So if I want to buy a particular car or a particular house, then I have to work that much more to be able to achieve it. So I think if we minimize our needs, so make our lifestyle, one, it's closer to the earth. Yes. So you minimize your needs and you actually minimize the amount of time you have to work, which means you can take more time to go out with your children. You don't need furniture. Yes. You need happiness in the space. A sofa is actually going to hinder the child's movement.
Yes.
Whereas if you just have open space and all of you can just sit on the floor and explore living there.
Paintings over there and then have a canvas or even a cloth there which they can paint on.
Yes. Yeah. So what we need to do is bring about a complete lifestyle change. Yes, we are at this moment, we need to do this particular kind of work to be able to earn our living. Yeah. But what kind of living? Are we just going into supermarkets and purchasing things which are full of plastics and then stuffing our fridge with them? Because the food and the environment, this is what makes up your child. Yes. If you're going to give food which is completely processed, yes, then and the environment which is completely processed, okay, yes, then of course your child is going to be a product which is
like if you're putting your child in air conditioned rooms or that is a conditioned place, it's not a natural environment, and then suddenly when you get the rashes, obviously.
So I think everything is important, the kind of food, the life values, how we focus on material things.
Yeah.
So what we need to focus is on the values ourselves. Okay. And that I think will ensure that our children also develop these same kind of values. So we focus on, what we tell, like we have an online school going in. We tell the children, the parents who are doing homeschooling, that allow your child to make a meal. Yes. The child to cook.
Yes.
3-year-olds are very good at chopping vegetables, and it's very good for them because it increases their concentration.
Ma'am,
it increases their self-confidence.
I have to admit here, even as a mother, now I have my kid is very grown up, like 20-year-olds, but I did not allow a 3-year-old. I was so scared, okay? I have to admit, I am not the perfect person or anything. But why did this happen, ma'am? If I go and talk to my aunts, my mother's sisters or anybody, or let's say if I go and talk to my attas and all, they used to do this from very small age. And how were their mothers okay with it, and why are we not okay with it? What happened in this, in this gap, ma'am?
Fear happened. Fear, a lot of fear. See, at least in our Indian culture, there is this surrender kind of thing that, okay, things will happen and, we don't have much control and we have to live our life to our best.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's whatever you want to call it, God, you want to.
Yes.
Different people have different things, and but there is some energy that everybody believes in, which is taking care of us and everything that is happening. That kind of a surrender is very de-stressing, because it's completely stress free. Okay, whatever is happening is good. We cannot change it. So in that kind of an environment, children are growing up, there is no fear. This will happen, that will happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? What is to happen will happen. That is how they live their lives. Now we are trying to control the life. We're trying to make sure that nothing bad happens.
Yes. As if everything is in our control only. Everything.
Exactly. That's not how life works. So when you allow,
I want to add on this point also before you explain, because so that you can give me the both answers for those also. If you observed our houses before, it was very minimalistic. We had one TV, one big, double cot bed or something, and then we roll up the beds and push it down. Nowadays, maybe because the mothers are trying for perfection, all this show off, look-wise it should be good and all. I always used to advise kids like, don't take that, don't touch this, don't do it has to be perfect. This perfectness and this OCD is also stopping the kids from entering into the places where they should be entering freely, right? Please add that also, ma'am, in what you're explaining.
Yes, definitely. So the environment has to be child friendly.
Yes.
If it is adult friendly, then you're concerned about this should not break, this should not get dirty, this shouldn't. So if we are worried about that, then we lose out on understanding how a child deals with its sin. But if we say that if it gets dirty, we can clean it up. And this is your space. And if you like say, I can give you another example. Like my daughter, when she started walking, she was about maybe 14, 15 months. And she liked to, so whenever guests would come, anybody would come, I would give them tea in these small cups. Okay. And what she would do is, after everybody is finished drinking tea, she'd like to take the cup and drop it in the sink. Okay. So we would give in steel tumblers, sorry. Give in steel tumblers. Exactly. That's what we do. So we and she'd drop it in the sink, and then I would wash later. She'd like to hear the clang noise. Sound in the drop in the sink. Yes. So once we had somebody from the city, I think, and I gave them tea in the crockery cups. Yes. And she very quickly, she picked up and she went and she dropped it. And she was like, oh, she stood there. And then I went and I just picked her up and I showed her what happened. And she looked at me like she had done something very wrong. I said, it's okay. That cup is broken, but it's fine. And then I told her that it'll poke your hand. You have to be very careful. So we removed it, we cleaned it, then we dug a hole, we buried that. And then next time, the next cup, she picked up and she kept it very carefully on the side. So I think children learn. These are mistakes. These are accidents from which children learn they learn about material. It's material science in a way. Just, like they teach us maybe in the 7th standard that metals, you can recognize metals because of metallic sound. Yes. What she was doing at 1 year and 3 months is understanding that that's a metal. It gives you a clang. And this definitely does not give you a clang. You have to keep careful. The breakable thing. Yeah. I think this kind of engagement with material, with their surroundings, is what learning is all about. And the more we try to protect the children or protect the material, both are equally bad. Yeah. So before we get into the education part, ma'am, that the kindergarten stuff or anything, what about these phones, ma'am? You have to feed your kid. You have to give them phone. Otherwise, nowadays, I think Chandamama, the moon mama part is gone completely. It's all the Peppa Pig, or the bananas, pajamas, or everything. Like, how do you handle that, ma'am? Why did it happen like that? Is it because the mothers lost their patience to take the kid and take them around, show them things? We used to speak to kids when we used to feed them. Like, look at that, the leaves, flowers, dogs coming on the road and everything. Is it because of the loss of patience? Is that how we should understand that? So, personally, I feel even that is wrong. Even showing the child leaves and dogs while feeding the child is wrong. Okay. Feeding the child itself is wrong. Because the child should
in the middle layer, right? So maybe the showing part is there. In my grandmother's part, she used to put a bowl in front of me. I used to throw one around me and then eat one. throw and then eat one. That's how I learned.
And even that, see, children are they learn very fast. So like what happens is, what we're doing nowadays is we're making separate food for the kids.
Yes.
And then we are eating something else. And the children are seeing, I mean, they're not stupid. They can see that what you're eating is different from what they are eating. So they don't want to eat this. So like I have a grandson now. So my daughter was, she was saying that, what should I do? How do I feed him? I said, don't bother. Just make sure that the first helping of food that you take has no spice. Just normal food which you would make for him, keep it in your plate. And you mix it and start eating. And then he will come. And then start giving him also. He also starts eating. And there's no thing of taking the child around, and no. Sit in one place. You eat. He's also eating. Maybe if he wants to go around, but don't follow him. Wait. When he wants another mouthful, he will come back. So first she was like, does that even work? Because everybody else is doing this. I said, you just do it and see. That's how I brought you up. So she was eating, and this child comes and he does this. So you have to feed him. Then he goes, plays, and then comes back, and then you keep feeding him. The job is done. It's not a separate task.
They complain that they don't come back. Some parents, they do complain, saying that he's not bothered about the food. He just wants to play. He's not coming back. That is why we have to go.
That means he's not hungry. You have to allow the child to listen to its own body. See, all these things are nature's way of making sure that we are healthy. We're supposed to eat only when we are hungry. If you eat without hunger, you get indigestion. Many kids have digestive issues because they don't know what is hunger. Every 2 hours, all doctors say, har 2 ghante you give him something, so that the child doesn't feel hungry. So he should cry. He should say, wow. Then you say, okay, this kid is hungry now. Then you start feeding. Because if you don't allow that to happen, then all these things will become syndromes later on. So you will get what is called the IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, because your body doesn't know what it's doing. And even while eating, like initially, yes, the child finds it difficult to eat. So like now my grandson is 9 months. So he doesn't have this movement. So what we do, we put a small, puffed rice, puri. Or small pieces of, fruit in a plate, and he tries to grasp it, like this. He's learning. In another month, he will start eating on his own. So my daughter was eating when she was 10 months. She knew how to take the food and put it in her mouth. What happens when you feed yourself is your whole person, your whole body, your whole soul, spirit, everything is ready for the food. There is hunger in the stomach. Your eyes are looking at the food. Your hands are going and, making the effort. Like your mouth is
like your
ready.
Body is ready for it. Full intention is there that I want this, and it goes in properly also to wherever it has to go.
This is called mindful eating. This is called mindful eating, and it's a huge thing now, mindfulness. But actually, it is very easy. It's very easy if you start from childhood. Mindful eating is when the child eats when the child wants, and with complete reverence. It's an act of worshipping your body. You're giving it food. You're nurturing it. It has to be done with reverence. But most of the time we eat and we keep talking about something else, and our bodies are not nurtured. They are not nourished. Put something in. How you put in is much more important than what you put in. There are a lot of studies that have been done on this. So there was a recent study that I read. There's a Harvard University experiment, which they did with rabbits. And the technician was supposed to feed the rabbit with some pesticide mix, so that we understand what is the effect of these pesticides on the. So it's supposed to be carcinogenic, and they were slowly increasing the dose, and so there were 2 groups of rabbits, and 2 different technicians were taking care of these 2. So one group of rabbits did not develop any cancer. So they were like trying to understand what happened, and then they said, okay, we need to observe, how these technicians are feeding the rabbits. So the same food, one technician goes, opens the door, keeps the food, and leaves. The other technician, he's like, he feels so bad that these guys are going to get cancer and die. So he kind of pets them, and then he gives them the food.
Right.
And that has made the difference.
Yes.
How you do things. You may give poison, but how you give it is also very important. If you give it with that amount of compassion, love, care, mindfulness, then poison also doesn't work. It's the intention. What is
Yeah.
the intention of the person who is
Yeah.
feeding?
Yeah.
So when I'm feeding myself, my intention should be in nurturing my body,
Yeah.
not in looking at the TV or looking at the crow.
We
Both
just,
are equally
we
bad.
just did a podcast on yoga, ma'am, and Saloni. So she said something like, even when you're cooking, also, let's say whatever we believe in, chant a mantra while you're cooking. You spread the positivity to the water. You spread positive. Just don't, wander around, get all the, angerness on kids, on husband, on everybody, onto the food. Be very careful of what you're feeding to your family. Be very careful what you spoke about.
True, true.
So let's get into this education part now. What do kids have to learn before learning ABC? What is it that they have to learn before learning ABC?
So, what I have learned in my 30 odd years with children, and I have observed more than 3,000, 4,000 children, and I've seen children who have come with learning difficulties, with autism, with ADHD, with all kinds of issues and learning difficulties. What I have observed is to be able to learn. The first and most important state of mind is happiness.
Yep.
So, if the child is not happy, whatever you do is going to go only a very small distance. But if the child is happy, then you don't have to do anything. So our focus has to be in making sure that the child is happy. At the same time, the other very important thing about learning is that I should feel motivated to learn. I should want to learn. I should want to do that, whatever it is that, and I should feel that I'm capable of doing that.
Confident.
If I feel that I'm not capable, like if it's a task which is like if I give a child a huge box to carry, a child knows it cannot carry. It will say, I cannot do it. But if I give a small box, they will carry it. Next time they will try a slightly bigger box. Then they will try a slightly. That way they will be challenging themselves to do more and more and more. So one, there should be happiness. Two, there should be this feeling that yes, I can do
it.
Yes. And then there should be the task should be not so big. It should be accessible. It should be it should be something that they can achievable. So you set goals which are too far, child totally loses out. I cannot do that. Just let it be. What we need to do, what a child needs to learn is that the child is wonderful, that the child is very capable. So this is the learning about themselves. So the child needs to know what is there.
Inculcate those things in the child for parents. Any tips? Inculcate that in the kids.
You allow the child to do things when the child is doing something. You allow.
That's how they build confidence that they can do it.
Since, like, say, suppose when I'm chopping, and my 3-year-old says, "I want to chop it," she says, "No, this is very dangerous. You don't do this." Or I say, "Okay, this lady said that they should be chopping, so I'll give a knife which is not so sharp and a board, and maybe something like a tomato because it's easier to cut or whatever." So here the child is using this blunt knife. It's no fun cutting, right? They won't do it. They enjoy it. They won't do it. Same thing you can do. You can give the same tomato, instead of giving a round one, cut it into thick slabs. Give them a sharp knife. Show them this is how we cut. And show them it's very sharp. You can get, hurt on your finger. So watch when you're doing it. My daughter never cut her hands. And she started chopping it too. Obviously, they never do because
human instinct that you don't want to hurt yourself, right? Basic human instinct. Kids are very smart, ma'am, actually. They are really, really smart. We are stupid. Yeah, they do observe.
Yes, we do not.
You ask them
we do not
I'm sure they
trust them.
They look around, like what is the position to place it and all. I'm sure they will look around. They observe a lot.
And you give them simple things like which are long, which they can hold and cut easily.
Like a bendy.
Like, say, lady or or you cut, like if you have potato, then you cut the potato into thick slabs. The round one they cannot cut. So you cut it into thick slabs, then they can do it. So something which is accessible. If I give a round tomato to my child, obviously the child is not going to be able to do it. So what I have done is temporarily I have completely made sure that the child will never ask me for cutting anymore because there is no joy in it.
Yeah.
So I feel now I know I don't have to worry about this. But what I have also done, I have reduced the confidence of the child.
That's very wrong, isn't it?
Yes. not only very wrong, it's very harmful.
Yeah.
And not only to the child, also to the adult. Because now if my child
we
can
are
help
doing
me,
it so unknowingly, ma'am. We are thinking we're doing it out
exactly,
of love and protection, but so unknowingly we are,
harming. Yeah,
yeah,
true.
That,
See, they become little helpers, you know. If like when my daughter could chop, at 3 I could cut the thick slabs and give it to her. She'll be doing this. I can do the other things. And she feels like she has supported me.
yes.
Which means, can you imagine how much confidence it gives?
Yeah, I get it. I hope yours, please. I've been wanting to do the podcast on kids for so long, ma'am. You're the right person. Let's get into the education, ma'am. The education system today, particularly from second, third, fourth classes also, that you have to go to tuition. There are competitive exams to get into your high school. So it's always the rat race. It's always the rat race. What are they learning now? I just don't understand what they're actually learning. And if you ask them what is the route, what kinds of, that there are types of routes, right? Like a linear route, and then there are routes which are like, they have like sub route system and all. They don't know anything. And then we're doing all this rat race system. Tell me what is the right kind of education? Where did it start to break, ma'am? Particularly, let's talk about India. Where did it actually start to break and all this rat race started?
See, I think it's this capitalist economy that is to blame, because we are all, the capitalist economy is based on the fundamental that living, it's like survival of the fittest. So, and that was by Charles Darwin. He said survival of the fittest is nature's law, right? But in his book,
yes,
that is one sentence.
Yes,
and then there is a second sentence which nobody read.
No.
So he gave a definition of what is fittest.
Yes.
Survival of the fittest is what is the nature's law. But who is the fittest?
Yes.
Fittest is the person who can adapt, not the person who can, remove the others.
Yeah.
So what we've misunderstood the whole law of nature. Because of this particular misunderstanding, we are now thinking that everywhere there is competition. But actually, everywhere in nature, there is cooperation, there is compassion, there is nurturing each other. The latest studies on how trees survive is not like trees try to fight each other. No. They say they nurture each other, they help each other. This tree helps the other trees to hold on to their roots, so that when the big wind comes, they're all holding each other. So because of a small misunderstanding, which, like, instead of saying survival of the fittest, they could have said adaptation is the basic fundamental rule of nature. So if you want to survive in nature, you have to learn to adapt to the existing situation and work around it. Resilience is a law of nature, where whatever happens, you're able to come back, rebound and come back. These are the laws of nature. These have been totally camouflaged in money, right now. And because this has become the way of life, like you said before, we're all living, trying to present that. Actually, it's a dual life. I am not who I show to other people. Yes, I show one face, and I am somebody. And what I show is what I want other people to see. Like, I know they want to see this, and so I show them that. But somewhere deep inside, I feel like something is wrong with this. But I'm not having the courage to break free. And this is what has happened to almost 90% of the population. We are living a false life. We're living a drama. Yes, life is Maya, and in the Indian thing, but you can't cheat yourself, right? Forget about others. Yourself, I think at some point you get confused of who you are also if you keep doing that. Is that you or that's what happens. So it's like very simple. Like when you tell your child, see, you do this, you're a very bad boy. And you do something else, and that's a good boy. Your mama's good boy, a good girl. Good in whose looks, whose books is that good and bad? Exactly. So children, what they catch up to is, okay, in front of mama, I cannot do this, because they will say bad girl or bad boy. And in front of them, I can do this, so that they say good girl. Oh my God. So this creates a duality. From the childhood, we ensure that the children are living two lives parallelly. One, who they are, and the other, who we want them to be, or who the whole society wants them to be. Okay, so let's fix the situation right there now. Okay, you have a kid, the same mother. Okay, you should not be doing that.
if he understood in that way, what is the right way for the mother to educate the child in the same situation?
Say, for example, they are spilling water everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just playing with water. That's what children do. They're spilling water everywhere. And you say, no, you don't do that. It's bad. That's instead of that, say, okay, it looks like you're really enjoying spilling the water everywhere. But do you know that you could slip and I could slip if it remains wet. So after you've finished enjoying, can we wipe it together?
Yeah.
Can we clean it up so that it's a safe space for you and me? So now when the child is doing the cleaning up,
the repercussions of what he has done and what he has to do later and what will happen later. Instead, in the same thing before, you are telling him like, you should not be spilling water. You will be a bad boy if you do that. So just to be a good boy in front of mom, you stop spilling water. Not by understanding the repercussions. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So all you have to do is make them understand the consequence of their action and the work that comes after the consequence. Like, okay, consequences, we could slip.
Yep.
And the action we need to do is we need to clean up.
Yeah.
So it's some work.
Yeah.
So if you want to do the work, yes, you can spill and consciously you can clean up. I have no problems. If you don't want to do the work, I also don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So please don't spill the water. It's very simple. And it works for everything. Whatever the situation, you can talk to a child. See, what we need to know is that children are always willing to understand. It's just that we don't have the patience to explain. Or we think that they won't understand. What will a child understand?
Actually, they're very smart. they're
yes.
smart. Coming back to
and they will ask you questions. They will ask you questions.
Oh, a lot of questions.
And they will cross-question you. And whenever they cross-question you, it's not like, shut up, I'm telling you this and you have to do it. It's not that. They think, oh, actually, that's a very valid point. I didn't think of that. Yeah, maybe that is possible.
Yeah.
So you have to work with them.
Yeah.
Not try to stop them and contain them in a box or make sure that see, it's like I tell people, if you find a seed, you don't know what it is. What will you do?
Yeah.
So most people say, I will plant it. I said, good. Now you planted it. And now it's, then what else will you do? It started to sprout. So what will you do? We'll pour water. Okay, what else will you do? What else can happen to the plant? So something may come and, disturb it. So you will put a fence around it to protect it. Then you see the leaves slightly getting yellow. Then what will you do? Then we give it, some compost because we know that it needs nutrition.
Pesticides.
So, not pesticides, organic pesticides. I'm an organic woman. So all organic inputs.
Yes.
So because the pesticides are like the chemical education that we are getting.
No. I'm saying in general context.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand. Yeah.
Organic fertilizer.
Organic fertilizers. Okay.
And organic plant nurturers.
Yeah.
So you will do that.
Yeah.
And then you don't know what the tree is, right? You don't know. You just planted it. It's just green. It's growing. Now, will you say, I wish this was a coconut tree and I want it to have a straight bark and only fronds at the top. So I will put a pipe around it so that it goes up straight and then has a frond. Will you do that?
No.
And people say, no, why would I do that? So then why are you doing that to your child? You have a picture that my child should be like this. And you start putting all these conditions. And so your child is not able to spread its branches and blossom and be who they are. Because you already put one box or a pipe or one structure to it. Then if a tree is growing crooked, what will you do? You'll use a light rope to straighten it, put a stick, support it, right? Which your child is doing something wrong. What will you do? Say, okay, that's not the way to do. Here, I'm with you. And this is how, you explain it, support it. You won't kind of, again, put it into a pipe and, make it straight-jacketed like this. You won't suffocate it. What we are doing to our children is essentially that. In the name of nurturing, protecting, you keep a fence. But what if you keep the fence very close to the plant? Plant will not grow. You need a fence. You need protection. So you need to watch your children. But that doesn't mean you have to pull them away from everything that they're doing. Just watch. Okay, if they fall, actually, if you observed yourself when you would have been a mother, and many parents have told me when I've told them this, like if a child falls and you just, look the other way, they don't cry.
They will get up.
They get up and they keep going.
You have to ignore.
Yes. It's because it's not the physical pain that is so painful. It is the insult that I have fallen. It is the insult. If nobody saw it, it's no problem. I can keep going. You know, so much self-respect child has, and so he doesn't want to lose it. What we do is, oh baby, how you fell. Then this child cries because the whole world knows now that I have fallen.
Yes.
Not because of the pain.
Yeah.
Not because of the physical pain. Yeah. It's because of the hurt to the ego of the child. That's what it is. When you are in a capitalist economy and you're shown pictures and advertisements that this is life, this is life, this is how you should live, this is how you should live, this is how your skin should be, this is the color of your hair, you know, and this is the makeup that you have to put to look beautiful, and this is beauty. How can you put a label on beauty?
Yes.
You are beautiful, I am beautiful, everyone is beautiful
in their own way. Yep.
Exactly. So this is what has made us feel insecure. And once I am insecure, I don't want my child to, get insecure. I don't want my child to get hurt. So I'm trying to protect.
That the reason will be like, okay, you're insecure. So all the herd or all the people are going this way. Let me also just squeeze in somewhere and then go with the flow so that I won't get hurt. And my kid also doesn't get hurt. Is that the way thing?
Yes, because they're not willing to explore. They're afraid. They don't know that, there is a life apart from this which is possible, because it's not shown. The life which is shown is the advertisement life. Let's say, for example, when I was in my 10th, that was like long back, almost 40 years back. What happened? They used to show, that's when the advertisements started coming in. There was this Colgate advertisement, which I remember very well. It's like super white coal. There's this guy brushing his teeth with charcoal powder, and then this guy comes and says, how do you think your white teeth are going to become white with this black powder? See, here, you have to use super white Colgate toothpaste. And then that guy cleans and they show his teeth all white. Today, what are they doing? They're saying, putting activated charcoal in your toothpaste. Why? Why are you putting?
Everything is coming back.
Exactly. Everything that was completely free, is now being paid.
We put a brand on it and then we are selling it for.
We are paying for it. So everything that was completely free means I don't have to work for it. I don't have to work for my toothpaste. I don't have to work for my soap. I don't have to work for my toothbrush. I don't have to work for. I can sleep on the floor. I don't need furniture. I don't have to have these particular kind of clothes. I can have simple things. I can spin. I can weave. I was happy. Now suddenly you have to have this. 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 Because I need to buy all this. Now I become a slave.
Yeah, and also did you stop learning also, ma'am? Let's say if you want to have a mattress back then, they used to bring the cotton from the fields, what they had, and then they used to push it together, stitch the whole thing and make the mattress. We don't know how the mattresses are made nowadays.
Exactly.
Stop learning.
Everything is bought. Everything is bought from the market.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even to the pot, they used to make it. At least we used to see when the person is making it. Everything is made in front of you.
And you could make it too. Almost everybody in their house was creative.
Yeah.
Almost everybody knew some craft or the other which they could create with their hands. Now what has happened? We are not creators anymore. See, if we are born as humans, what is the difference between an animal and a human being? If you generally ask, they will say we have sixth sense. We have sixth sense. What is the sixth sense? We are actually more stupid than the elephant, because the elephant does not drop plastics in the forest. And it doesn't have anything to do with processed food. Whereas you create all this processed food, create all this waste and dump it in nature. You understand the process of nature. You know that in nature, nothing is called waste. Everything is a resource. It's all cycle. It all goes round and round and round. Whereas you are here, in a linear way of life, one to the other. And the end is always waste.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with it.
What kind of knowledge has made us become into this linear structure, ma'am?
I think it is the fear, essentially.
And also knowledge
being left behind.
From the nature, we could say that we can create
the arrogance.
Labs and
the arrogance that we are human, that we have to create something which is superior to nature. Nature created us. And we, in all our so many years, have not been able to create another machine which is like ourselves.
Yes.
So we should not have so much arrogance to try to work against nature. We should work along with it. And that is where we somewhere lost it. And we feel that, nature is outside us. Outside is nature.
No.
I have to go out in nature. But I am nature.
Yes.
I am nature. It cannot be outside me. Therefore, it's important that I am always remaining a child of nature. That awareness is what is, totally got lost.
Yes.
And the more distance we have maintained.
Said, ma'am, that whatever we got for free, we misused it. Does it, can we relate it to the education also? What was already available for us in front of us?
So the present day education system, how did it start?
Yes.
The history, if you want to know. If you want to know.
Yeah.
So I think before, children were allowed to stay in their houses till they were 14.
Okay.
They were with their parents.
Okay.
And they did whatever the parents did. If the parents were doing spinning, they were doing spinning, weaving, farming, pottery, whatever the parents were doing, they were doing along with the parents. After 14, if a child expressed a desire to learn, they were sent to a Gurukula.
Okay.
And anybody could go to a Gurukula. Anybody could, So there were lots of Gurukulas in our country.
Right.
And a lot of people. But the important thing is till the age of 14, your character is being built. Your fingers and hands need to be moving because that's how we learn. And even in the Gurukula, the children were taking care of their own needs. Okay. There was nobody who was washing their clothes for them or cooking for them. They were doing it by themselves. They were independent. This was our education system. And it's very clearly written in one of Macaulay's, this is called the Macaulay's education system. In one of his letters, that he has recorded, he says that as long as we don't
can you repeat the
break.
Who is that?
His name is Macaulay, a British person, who designed the education system of India. And their need was that they wanted people who could speak English, who could obey orders, so who did not think for themselves. They don't want people to think because they want to be able to give instructions, and instructions should be followed. And they want the child should have no time to get distracted in other things, because you want them to be focused on learning English and doing what is told.
Wanted a robot basically.
Yes. So they created an education system, and it's so beautifully designed. Believe me, if as a system, it's perfect for the result that they wanted, and it's working till today. Okay. First thing you have to do is, if you don't want a child to, you don't want a child to be happy, you have to be unhappy. Yes. Only then you will listen to others. If I'm happy and I'm free, I don't care what you say. I do my thing. Yeah. Unhappiness has to be inducted. The best way to induct unhappiness is to make them sit in one place.
Oh my God.
You stop a child, see a child who wants to get off. You're carrying a baby. The child wants to get off. What does the child do? Starts crying, pushing, wants to get off. Yeah. But you keep holding. After some time, they stop trying because now they have decided, okay, there's no point. This person is not going to let me be. And I have to be in this place. That's what we have done. We've constricted our children. So now at 2.5, children go to the room and they're sitting on a bench. And they are doing things which are told. Yes. And they are, they are engaged with some activity or the other all the time. That means they have no space to think, no space to wonder, no space to observe, no space to copy what is happening around in their environment. The only thing they copy is, I am a teacher, you shut up, sit down, I will beat you. That's what the children are copying because that's what they are seeing. So your first thing is you contain them physically. Second thing is all these subjects. Where do you see science and maths separated in real life? Yeah, they're together. Yes. So the whole thing of 5 subjects means you're reading 5 different books. If they say there are no subjects, there's one book. Yeah. One book I can read in 1 hour. It's enough. Why do I need 5 hours for 5 books? And then there is physical training, which is again, very regimental. You have to do like this, like this, like this, like this. And you have to play only these games. And it has to be, that's also, again, in a space where somebody is directing you. Okay, so literally 8 hours of your daytime is like split into... Manipulative. Yeah, it's like not needed. Wow. Yes, go ahead. Yeah. So again, make sure that you stop thinking. You don't have time. You're so stressed. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So much to do, And because I'm all the time thinking of what I need to do, I have no time to enjoy the environment. I have no time to observe the environment. And I have definitely no time to think. Oh, you're tired. You're stressed. Wow. Once I am stressed, I can be very easily manipulated. And also my behavior is, so I'm stressed, so I behave angrily. Then that is another thing that can be used against me. You're an angry person. You're always shouting. It makes me feel even smaller. Oh, I'm an angry person. I shouldn't be angry.
What if people watching this podcast, some people they can say or comment saying that if that is the case, there are people who are excelling, they're getting 100 marks and 99%.
What?
If that's the case, how are if you think that the kids are being restricted and everything, how are particular kids excelling? What do you say to the people who are going to comment like that?
So, how many percent, first of all? And
what? Not
yes,
even.
not even 1%.
Not even 1%.
Yes, and those children who are excelling may be having parents who are not putting pressure, who are not saying you should come first, who are doing their own thing and they are being inspired by their parents' passion. Because all children are designed to learn. It is the parents' pressure that suffocates them. Okay, school is designed, you have to be restricted. At least at home, give them the space. So actually now there's a lot of movement towards homeschooling.
Yes. Yes.
So we also run a homeschooling program for parents who want to do homeschooling. Yeah. And what we tell them is that, allow the child to explore. Yeah. Engage with the child when the child wants engagement.
Like 12 years ago, we lived in Bangalore and in Hyderabad. I looked for schools to send my kids. There was no playground. I hated it and I don't like this rat race. So one thing I found was like in Bangalore, I'm talking about the Valley School, the Krishnamurti Foundation School, which was like far away in Bannerville side. There were no schools, ma'am, and there are a lot of parents like me coming online on the blog saying we don't want to send our kids to the rat race schools. We want something else. In Australia, I'm not saying it's perfect, but definitely, I'll tell you, ma'am, like the basic system. My son learned gardening in primary school. My daughter learned cooking. I'm scared. I told you, right? I was one of those mothers who was scared. But now my daughter can handle everything because she did hospitality in her IS school. My son did carpentry. My daughter did farming, and they did all the pottery. And I have this bathtub thing where you put your soaps and everything on the bathtub. My son made that for me. So this is what I wanted in India, but I couldn't get it. Why aren't we able to follow all these things, ma'am?
Yeah, so I think it is, a system gives you something. It's like, say the world of advertising now. When people realized that organic food is now what people want, they started advertising for organic food.
Yeah.
So the same company that used to sell, I remember seeing the ad myself, that dal, the lentil that we eat. That is like, it has to be, it has to be polished, it's shining. See, this is our dal, and you have to buy this dal. The same company now gives an advertisement. See, this is our dal. The skin is still on. You buy this because it's healthier. Same company. That means the market is deciding everything. And who is the market? You and me. So if people decide that they don't want this, they will stop selling it. If people decide this is not the school we want, they will stop doing those things. If all parents go to the school and say, look, it does not matter to me what marks my child gets. I just want my child to be happy. I'm not going to help him with the homework. I don't want him to be stressed. And as long he comes here for socialization, he's here with his friends. As long as they're not doing anything destructive, please let them be. If all parents start saying this, things will change. So the change is in our hands. But we are still in the rat race. What can we expect?
And it is getting worse only from past 20 years, ma'am. It was not before that. I studied in ICSE syllabus. We used to get the publisher's book from Delhi. I used to pay by DD in a bank and then get Goel publishers and a lot of other publishers. One biology textbook I never studied in one textbook. It was 3-4 different textbooks. And in ICSE, we had this thing that you can't write a definition exactly how it is. You have to make up your own thing. And we used to have running notes and everything. Nowadays, there is no notebook. They're getting printed copies for the whole year where you have to just study and by heart it. What about your own brain? Where is your own language?
True.
Where is your own understanding to it? Yeah. Actually, our Indian.
See, all this has become like this.
Yeah,
all this has become like this.
Ma'am, before, I think we got ruined by it, and now they are adopting to good education, and now we are being suppressed to all these things.
No, because we want to copy. We want to copy the West.
But copy this
That's a big problem.
The West is doing this now.
So copying comes 10 years later, no?
Right.
This was what was happening in the West 10 years back, and it's happening now in India.
Right.
And 10 years later, yeah, you will find these kind of schools in India also.
I think Gurukulas may come back even. So,
And it is a demand that is growing. Yes, parents are realizing that this is
actually,
nonsense.
we can see the change. We can see the change. So, what happens? Why did you start Puvidam Trust, ma'am? Why did you start it, and what was your basic intention, and what happens here, ma'am?
So actually, I am trained to be an architect.
Okay.
I was born and brought up in the city of Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 21 years in the city
Mm-hmm.
watching the rat race, and I decided, no, I'm not going to run this race.
Yeah.
I don't want this kind of life. It's better to die.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was very clear that, I'm blessed with one body.
Mm-hmm.
And the least I can do for my own body is give it clean water, clean air, and clean food. No chemicals. So only way I could have done it is by growing my own food. So my very clear goal when I left college was I have to buy my own piece of land somewhere and settle down. And that's what happened. We bought this plot of land. It was a wasteland because we don't have much money when you're that young. So we bought something that nobody wants to buy. Completely waste. There was not even a bush on that land.
Okay.
And I said, that's easy,
Yeah.
Now we can work on it.
Yes.
It takes time.
Yes.
I don't start with a beautiful piece of land, but I finish with a beautiful piece of land, and that's better. So that's what we started to do. We started to grow our own food. So we I learned to do soil conservation, water conservation, making a nursery, planting trees, nurturing trees. First 8 years of my life there was only working with the plants.
Okay.
And then when my daughter was about 5, that's when I said, okay, I need to do something about the education now. And I remember from my own schooling days, I hated the school and I hate the system. And I also know that is what is going to happen to my child. They're going to get, totally inducted and brainwashed into all this whole thing. I was saved by the brainwash only because I had parents who said, come on, it's not important. What's important is that you enjoy your childhood.
Wow, lucky you.
Yeah, really. So my mom and dad were like this. My mom's thing was, you should help out in the house. I cannot do everything alone. Learn all the things. So cleaning, cooking, everything that we would have. We have our duties. Both me and my brother, we had our duties. You have to do this, then you can do what you like.
Yeah.
My father's thing was, okay, whatever remarks they send from the school, he will sign it quietly, never ask a question.
Wow.
when they call him for parents meeting and they say your daughter is doing like this, he say, it's okay, she's just a child. As long as she's not harming anybody, I think it's okay. So his thing was, as long as she's not harming anybody, what's wrong? Let her be. So there was no stress in my life. I used to go to school because I had to go, come back, put my bag down, help my mother with whatever, and then I could just climb trees, keep running around the whole day. And my mom was never like, her only thing is 8 o'clock is dinner time. If you don't come, you won't get dinner. That's all. She'll never change her rule. 8 means 8. If I'm not there by 7:45 and I've not washed my hands and sat at the table, I don't get dinner. So I had to miss 1 or 2 times. After that, okay, I know my body knows it's 7:30. I start moving homewards. 7:45, I have to be there, wash my hands, be ready for dinner. Otherwise, I don't get very strict. These things, like when parents make a decision, this is the rule, then you don't shift your rule for any reason. Even if your child is hungry one day, let her learn, because hunger is also a good thing. Teaches you a lot of things.
Yeah. Nowadays, nobody's hungry. No one is hungry.
So that was, I think even in today's system, we can, save our children from this mad race by making sure that we are giving in the right inputs and right values.
Okay.
Yes, the system is like this, but at least we don't have to say, okay, did you do your homework? What did your teacher do? What did you learn today? My dad never asked me any of those questions. His thing was, did you have fun in school?
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting is not so much fun, but afternoon when we were playing for lunchtime, evening we had. So that was his question. I think that is a very important thing. Why I was saved from this brainwashing. I was not brainwashed. I was totally able to think on my own. That's so much time. So this time is needed for children. And so I didn't want to send my children to this regular school. So what was the other option was to just do something for them at home. Then I also have the belief that you have to learn in your mother tongue. And my mother tongue was Hindi because I was from the north. I'm from UP.
Okay.
And my husband's mother tongue was Tamil, but we were living in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
So I said they have to learn in Tamil.
Yeah.
And I also have to learn Tamil because it's the language of the
Land.
So we engaged a person to help us to learn in Tamil. And my thing was like, we are not doing this language by reading the alphabet. No. We first tell us stories.
Yes.
So we started with stories in Tamil, then drama in Tamil, then music in Tamil, and then all the other activities. The commands, how to say this, how to say it. Children ask, okay, Anna, I want to say this, how to say it. Then you're told.
Yeah.
So you learn like this. You learn because you want to learn.
Yep.
And that's how this whole school started. My two kids were there, and then some children who were like on the farm, just outside the fence. There were these children who were grazing goats. So one of them, he asked me, Auntie, what are you doing? So I said, see, this is a school. He said, don't be funny. If school was so much fun, I would have also studied. Yeah. I stopped going to school 2 years back because I couldn't take it anymore. So my father bought me these sheep and I am grazing them. I said, no, this is really a school. If you want to come tomorrow. The next day, the boy came with his father and he said, I want to study in this school. Yeah. And that's when actually everybody came to know that we are even running a school. Okay. So this dad was like, are you running a school? He said, actually, I don't know whether we are running a school because what we are trying to do is learn with fun. So morning when the children, like when we wake up, our timetable was like this. We wake up, we start cleaning the cow shed, taking out the cow dung, feeding the cows, goats, chicken, all this work is done, sweeping, cleaning, then cooking, then eating, and then only any amount of learning. And the learning was, like by 11 o'clock, you're tired. You definitely can't take a textbook and read A, B, C. Yeah. So we go by story, by songs. So it's more invigorating. So I told him, this is the timetable, this is what we are doing. So I said, see, Amma, I don't know what you're doing, but this is the first time my child has said, I want to study. I want to go to school. So whatever you do, keep him in your school. Yeah. So this boy started coming. Yeah. Then he advertised it for us. So many more children started coming. And what was the good thing, what was the good feedback is that the children who came to our school, they went back home and they asked for work. Okay, what can I do? What should I do? Or what, take responsibilities. Because every day we ask them question. Yesterday, what did you do at home? So they have to say something. No, they can't tell lies. So they go and ask, give me some work. What should I do? And that was very helpful for the parents. Even in a farming community, when your child comes back from school and is doing homework, and if you ask for a glass of water, also the guy says, look, I have homework. Yeah, I know. Here this child comes back and says, okay, what can I do? So, okay, you remove the goat dung, you bring some fodder for the goats, do something for the chicken. So parents feel supported. So soon, very soon, our school grew. We had 150 kids, and I was like, oh my God, what have we started? Yeah. Then we had to kind of learn to, regularize it, contain it, understand the needs of the parents. And also, finance was a huge thing because these are all first generation learners. So that's why we started the trust and we started to get funds for education. So how is this like in high school? You only have until primary school, right? Until now? Yes. Only up to 8. We keep the children up to 8. Okay, so up to 8. So let's say even from 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we have little proper studies coming in, right? So So what we have done is we have created a curriculum based on stories and songs. Okay. There are no subjects. There is no subject learning. Okay. So everything is contained or is an output of the story. Right. Say for example, if you're talking about, so what we did is we divided it into 5 elements. Okay. So the 5 elements which build up the whole planet, sun, water, earth, air, and space. These are the 5 elements. All our Hindu scriptures say Panchabhuta is what makes life happen. Yes. So we said it makes more sense to separate the learning into these 5 elements. Okay. So in each element, we work for about 2 months, and we work on that element. So like say for sun module. So we are all observing the sun. What are the different aspects of the sun? What do you feel? What happens when you put different things in the sun? Like you put a steel spoon, a wooden spoon, a paper, what happens to it? What happens when you put a glass? What happens when, can you focus with lenses, depending on the age? With a lens, what happens? Concave lens, convex, all that you can just do by observing in the sun. Just at the sun, everything is coming. You're actually energy up, like science, social, English, and some calculation. Tamil.
Tamil.
And the local language, because the
Yeah.
story is written in English and translated into Tamil.
Tamil. Wow.
So the same stuff you're learning in both languages. So you can parallelly understand both.
Right.
So it makes easy for the child to, it's just a story. It makes fun. Through the story, they're getting to learn all these things. Like there'll be stories about what happened during the Harappan civilization, how people were traveling, how many distance kilometers. So there, all your math comes in.
Yeah.
All this can be brought together.
Right.
So that's what we have done. And now we are offering it online also. We are saying that, you can do the same thing at home.
Right.
You don't need to go anywhere. And you can allow your child to be stress-free. And you can allow yourself to be stress-free. Till the age of 14, children are supposed to understand their world and build it inside their head.
Okay.
This is the psychology of learning.
Okay.
So you have to understand. If you don't understand, how are you supposed to respond?
Okay.
You cannot respond.
Yeah.
So the first 14 years of a child is for the child to absorb and to copy and to understand themselves.
Yeah.
Who am I? What are my capabilities? What are my likes? What are my dislikes? How can I live with my likes and with my dislikes? And how can I do something that I don't like because it needs to be done?
Okay.
Not, okay, I don't like, so, okay, I don't like to clean the floor. But somebody has to clean it. So come on, let us do it together. So all these understanding how society works, understanding how my body works, what happens when I eat something, something's bother me, something's make me feel good. All this observation of the self, if it doesn't happen, then you get confused, and by the time you're 21, you're lost.
Yeah. By the time
up to 14,
they're BTech and coming out, they don't know what they're studying in school and BTech and everywhere.
Yes. So up till 14, if they are allowed to be, then they can be injected into the system.
You're basically doing the Gurukula system in our basically that's what you're doing. And did you see the difference in the kids when they finished the 8th and they had to go to the normal school for 9th and 10th, ma'am? Did they struggle or did they adapt very easily? How was that?
They struggle, but their struggles are different. Right. They struggle because they have to be sitting in one place.
Okay.
They struggle because they cannot. Yeah. Physically, they are restricted, no?
Right.
Then even to go to use the washroom, they have to ask, and they can go only at particular times. So it takes about 1 month for them to, their bodies to get regulated. So that is 1 month where they test, they will get zeros. And we also say, matter. First, you need to adjust. And then in the second month and third month, they start understanding that, okay, I cannot express myself. In this system, I have to just eat and vomit. I cannot do anything else. I don't have to think. I should not think. If I think, it's a problem. I don't think it's fine. They have to learn that. So they have to unlearn the thing that they can have an opinion.
Right.
So these are easier. It's easy to stop having an opinion than to start having an opinion. It's difficult to start thinking suddenly. But if you've been thinking all your life, okay, for the time being, I should not think. I can stop.
Yeah.
So they stop. And then by the 6th month, they become teacher's pet because they are very eager to help, to work. They are all, so they become. So we have a thing that our children from our school, when they go to the normal school, they are very quiet. They don't disturb anybody. They mind their own business. They don't get into trouble. They don't get into fights. And they are very supportive. When something needs to be done, they come and do.
Okay.
So that's what we are creating. We're trying to create people who are action-oriented.
Yeah.
And who are doing positive action. So then we have kids who get 92%, 95%. There are kids who just get 50%. That is their ability. But at least almost
that doesn't.
We have 100% result. All of them pass. All of them pass.
Oh, good. And they are into their own degrees and everything.
Yeah. They have gone. There's somebody who's doing a business. There's somebody who's doing a job for the last 20, 25 years. My daughter is in France. It's not difficult to face life.
Strong foundation, ma'am. You're giving them the strong.
Yes.
That's
when I know myself, I know what I can take and what I don't need to take. I know that what people are saying about me is not always true and can ignore it. Yeah, okay, fine. I don't have to take everything personally. I don't have to take everything seriously. I know who I am and I know what I want to do in my life, and my path is clear. That is the most important learning.
There are very few schools like yours. Very, very few. I think the number is still countable. I don't think there are many. The job you're doing is like, I am lucky enough to go to few schools like that when I was young. I think that is the base where I'm trying to do with my kids. I'll just give you an example, ma'am. Please correct me if I did the wrong thing or right thing. I can always tell you this part. We went to the beach when we came to Australia. My son was 5 years old. Okay? So when the waves are coming, he didn't put the feet down at all. The feet were like up, and I'm holding him, and the feet was like, I'm not going to put it. Then he ran back onto the beach, and then I brought him back and I said, let's fight with it. Oh, it's coming onto us. It's coming onto us. Oh, you're coming in like bishum with one leg, and then bishum with the other leg onto the wave. In I think approximately 5 to 10 minutes, the fear is gone. He started, fighting with the wave and slowly entering into the more deeper side. He was 5 years old. Is that the right approach, ma'am?
Yes.
Because
So they have to face their fears, and if you force them to face it without giving them a
like,
good
go,
reason,
go, go, go. Why can't you go?
yeah,
Everybody else is going. Why can't you?
yeah,
So easy and all. Yeah.
that makes it worse. What you did is like playing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah. Yeah. I always took it up
let's see what.
because when I first saw you on the podcast, I told you that I had teachers like you. I was lucky enough, but I really hope, ma'am, is there anything you want to say about the education system that you want things to change, ma'am? Particularly India, we are talking about.
I think what really needs to change is the effort we are trying to put into teaching. Instead of putting effort into teaching, the adults around the children should put effort into understanding the child and making space so that they can follow what they want to do. So, like, there should be a music, instead of having classroom, you have a music room, a science space, a space where you do theater, a space where a garden, definitely gardening, because there are enough studies. Like, there was a study in Finland that said that actually Finland is the best education system. They just do 3 hours of academics in a day, and the children are doing wonderful. Even there, what they found is that in those 3 hours, if the children are visiting a garden or a forest for 15 minutes every day and doing something with the soil, the improvement in learning was almost by 50%. Almost. Just being in the soil. There are enough studies that tell you that if the soil is organic, it has microbes that actually have the ability to increase the happiness hormones in our body. So the serotonin, oxytocin, all these hormones get activated. Child is happy. Child learns. It's that simple. Child is happy, child learns. So we should understand the latest research and provide that environment to the child rather than sitting with 50-year-old research and trying to still teach ABCD. So if you really want to become a country that is making maximum use of its human resource, you have to nurture the human resource. You cannot torture it. Right now, our human resource is being tortured.
I think that's one thing where we have to correct ourselves for our future.
Trust your children. Trust nature. Yes, because she has, the child came through me, but it is not my child. It is the child of nature, and she knows the process. She knows the reason why this child is born to me. Even if it is a special child with special needs, I have received this gift because nature trusts me to take care of it. Don't mess up, trust nature back.
Ma'am, correct me if I'm wrong. I always believe that we think that these are our kids and we. Isn't that a parent's responsibility to give is a big word? I don't think give is the right word, but to provide a correct citizen to the society, correct citizen to the country also. Are we really thinking in that angle also? Like, as parents, are we doing that properly?
I think correct citizen will happen automatically when it's a correct human.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is a correct human?
Yes,
the good human being.
Good human being.
So the real difference between animals and humans is the fact that humans can create with their hands. We can make things. We change the environment, and change is the only constant thing of all life, whether it is wild or domestic or even the very very manicured city life. Change is there every day, every minute. So if we learn to respond to change rather than become afraid of it, we are afraid of change.
Yes, we are.
Instead of being afraid of it, just respond and face it every day. I think if we are able to do that, we will bring up children who will become, citizens of the whole planet, who will have humanity at their center, and who will know what is love, compassion, and empathy,
And who live
rather than
like trees,
fear.
supporting each other
Yes.
and growing as citizens or community, as country or world or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Perfectly. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm going to give you details, ma'am. Please, viewers, watch. I'm trying so hard to get good podcasts over here. They are long, I understand, ma'am, but good podcasts, they do need time. We can't go with the short,
True.
like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So please do
True.
watch the podcast, and I'm going to give links of the Freedom Nursery School and the trust also. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. Thank you so much.
I'll send you the other links
Yeah,
also,
sure,
so that you can
sure, ma'am.
share.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.